Welcome back, LayerX Bulls, to the official LayerX YouTube channel. As we take our first steps into the final quarter of 2024, I think it's only fair that as we say goodbye to Q3, we take a little look at what happened in the LayerX ecosystem in the month of September. And one of the key overall themes of September was some new content series being implemented within various LayerX blog pages, as well as some new key updates to the TAIKAI platform in anticipation of the release of the TAIKAI Garden as we get further and further into the final quarter of 2024. But that's not all. The LayerX team has continued to provide those very key accessibility features to improve the overall experience of users and clients of the B Pro platform in anticipation of some new clients joining the space. And as many of you that have been following the LayerX ecosystem for any meaningful amount of time, you know the LayerX team is committed to bringing the most easily accessible and professional platforms on the market. And that goes for all aspects of the LayerX ecosystem. But that's not all. We also had the unveiling of the new evolution of the old LayerX Talk series in the form of the new Probably Something space over on X. So let's waste absolutely no time at all, because ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, the Constar, and this is September's edition of the Rapid Fire News Recap series here on the official LayerX YouTube channel. So let's dive straight into the more broad LayerX outlook. Kicking it off with a new episode in the Team Spotlight series, where in this episode we got to learn a little bit more about LayerX's very own DevOps engineer, who is responsible for the seamless integration of development and operations within the LayerX ecosystem. And although he's new to the Web3 space, he also shares the excitement of just how transformative the Web3 space is going to be in the near future. We also had two new content series, one over on the LayerX blog page and the other the TAIKAI blog page. One being the Behind the Handle series, where we get to learn a little bit more about our most prominent community members within the LayerX ecosystem. And I was absolutely honored to be the very first member to have their very own spotlight over on the official LayerX page. So if you would like to learn a little bit more about my background, then you know exactly the place to go. The other new content series comes in the form of the Hacker Stories. The format is very similar to the new Behind the Handle series. However, it takes more of a focus of the TAIKAI user base itself. And to quote the first Hacker Stories, every member of the community has a unique story to tell. And starting today, we'll be bringing forward the stories of our builders using the TAIKAI platform. And some of you may be quite surprised to hear that the first episode of the Hacker Stories features a registered NHS pediatric doctor. And when they were asked the question, have you used the TAIKAI platform before? This is what they replied with. I've participated in several TAIKAI hackathons, and each one has been an incredibly rewarding experience. The platform is designed to foster creativity and collaboration, and I found it to be a great space for pushing the boundaries of decentralized innovation. And now, to me, these hacker stories are the perfect testament to just how fantastic the TAIKAI platform is, and just goes to show just how interesting and reputable the backgrounds of some of the TAIKAI user base is, which fills me with such excitement knowing what the TAIKAI Garden is looking to achieve. But before we go any further into the TAIKAI Garden, let's talk about Probably Something. The LayerX Talks Revamped, the series where the LayerX team leverages their connections within the space to sit down with some of the most incredible Web3 key opinion leaders and blockchain names in the space. In this first episode of Probably Something, we had both Nader and Matt from the developer relations team at EigenLayer to discuss the future of staking ecosystems like EigenLayer and the potential of blockchain scaling and the challenges builders usually face when they transition from Web 2 to Web 3.
The people that we've talked to essentially are wanting to build an EigenLayer because security is just a lot less expensive, a lot cheaper, and a lot easier to come by. And it just makes the process of building their software faster, cheaper, easier. So, I think the whole idea of the evolution of software is always about building better abstractions, about building things that reduce the barrier to entry.
But if you didn't get a chance to catch the conversation between the LayerX team and Nader and Matt, then the first episode of Probably Something is live on all of your favorite streaming platforms like X, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. So if you're interested on catching up with this conversation, you know exactly where to go. So let's talk about the TAIKAI Garden. The LayerX team released the very extensive article for those of you that are unfamiliar with what exactly the TAIKAI Garden is and what it's looking to achieve, giving you all the context you need to why exactly the TAIKAI Garden is so important to the Web3 space going forward and just how transformative it's going to be to the overall LayerX ecosystem as a whole. But not only that, it also has an extremely digestible example from what participation within the garden may look like from start to finish. By kickstarting your project through the TAIKAI Garden, by having access to industry-leading mentorship from some of the best performing entrepreneurs in the space that have already done it. Finishing it off with an extensive FAQ about what participation within the garden may look like, so you have absolutely no questions unanswered. For a quick snippet from the article, entrepreneurs like David often face challenges that feel impossible to overcome without the right support. The TAIKAI Garden offers more than just resources. It gives you a real chance to grow your idea, meet the right people, and find the funding to make your vision a reality. With the mentorship, community support, and resources available, you will be able to turn your ideas into actionable steps and bring your project to life in a supportive and thriving ecosystem. I cannot stress just how important it is that if you have any sort of vested interest in the success of the LayerX ecosystem, that you need to know what the TAIKAI Garden is. Because it really is going to put the LayerX ecosystem at such an advantage over all the competition within the space. But we just simply do not have enough time to cover the extensive TAIKAI Garden in this recap video. So this article is exactly what you need. And with all that being said, the main focus of the development team is developing the TAIKAI Garden features. The LayerX team is really trying to get as many of the TAIKAI Garden features out before the end of the year as possible. So we can definitely expect more news on this in the final quarter. And the final thing before we have a quick rundown of all the hackathons that have happened on the TAIKAI platform in September, we also had the release of TAIKAI version 3.19 in anticipation of the upcoming TAIKAI Garden, including these features: custom open graphs for user profiles, the ability to claim more points by following LayerX, TAIKAI, and BPro on X, so more X integration into the profiles, and a very exciting statement made by the team: the more points you amass, the more rewards you can exchange them for, making this a great opportunity to boost your progress. This follow-up on the new point system that was implemented into both BPro and TAIKAI is something I have been waiting in anticipation for some time now, and I cannot wait to see just what prizes we're going to be able to claim with our amassed points from both the BPro and TAIKAI platforms respectively. There's also the ability to track claimed quests, as well as some general back-end improvements to build on the overall user experience of the TAIKAI platform. I'll say it again. The LayerX team is committed to bringing the most easily accessible and professional platforms on the market. And now for your rapid-fire rundown of all of September's hackathons. And in the spirit of the TAIKAI Garden, let's highlight just how many projects were born during these hackathons that could have been transitioned into the TAIKAI Garden. We had Cassini, Environment and Green Transition, 150 projects. NFT Brazil, with 9 projects. The LATAM On-Chain Open Hack, with 14 projects. And ICP Hacker Lab, with 7 projects. And in terms of the hackathons that are in the registration phase, we'll start out with the Build on ICP AI Hackathon, with $10,000 as a prize pool. We also had Hack Together with $4,000 up for grabs. We've also secured the partnership for our first, and I'm sure of many, Halloween-based hackathons for the month of October in the form of the Storacha Halloween 2024 with $6,666 as a prize pool. I see what you did there. And to close the hackathon section, we've got yet another Cassini hackathon. This one focused on EU space for security and defense with $9,000 up for grabs. So, TAIKAI Garden, TAIKAI Garden, TAIKAI Garden. This is what you need to be looking out for in the coming quarter. In terms of things happening for BPro, the team is continuing to make a push towards bringing more clients to the BPro platform, whilst maintaining a steady development of the overall accessibility and feel of the application itself. And I highly suggest that if you haven't been on the BPro platform in a while, you take a look around, because the overall feel of the BPro platform really does feel like an industry-leading product. It just seems that the overall space is still slightly apprehensive of using such a unique product. But as I've said multiple times in the past, I do truly believe that the adoption of BPro Network will happen in an exponential way. This is both a blessing and a curse, because getting that exponential curve rolling is the most difficult part in terms of the adoption of the product. We just need to get those very few pesky clients to start using the BPro platform. And if this can't be done in the traditional way, the TAIKAI Garden will fix this problem without a doubt in my mind. But In the meantime, the LayerX team is continuing to put out more information regarding the BPro platform, as it can be quite difficult for those looking to actually dip their toes into Web3 to know exactly where they need to go, as because many of us that have already been within the space for many years take for granted just how much information and terminology we already know just from years within the space. But these new market participants do not have that luxury. So, in very LayerX fashion, the LayerX team wants to make sure that all of the information that is needed to actually participate within the LayerX ecosystem and the wider Web3 ecosystem as well is all condensed within the LayerX ecosystem. For this month's BPro article, have you ever wondered what sets Web3 development apart from traditional development? In our latest article, we break down how decentralized Web3 development contrasts with traditional software development, exploring different methodologies, frameworks, and processes that define each approach. As I'm sure many of you will agree, an investment into yourself and your overall knowledge is one of the most beneficial investments you could make. So it's always important that you continue to build upon your knowledge, no matter how well versed you believe yourself to be within the space. And to finish off the recap, what's coming? The last quarter of the year is right around the corner, and we're gearing up for an exciting final sprint, with the rollout of the first features of the TAIKAI Garden as the major highlight. We're fully focused on closing the year strong, delivering key updates, and bringing the remaining goals of our 2024 roadmap to life. We have some very exciting times ahead for the LayerX ecosystem. Not only do we have the highly anticipated and exciting TAIKAI Garden, we could have some new clients for BPro at any moment. And in typical LayerX fashion, I'm sure that when this partnership happens, it's going to be an absolutely massive one. As always, if you have any questions regarding the information that we covered in today's recap video, or maybe you have some questions about some of the things that we can expect in the final quarter of 2024, then please do feel to reach out to either myself over on my channel or in the comment section of the video, any of the official team members in the LayerX Discord channel, or any of our beloved community members in the official LayerX Telegram channels. I'm super excited for the final quarter of 2024. I cannot wait to see what the LayerX team is going to achieve in the final quarter of 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been your host, the Constar, and I'll see you in the next one, LayerX Balls.